But now that I'm back here, it's like I feel like I'm getting pulled in all directions.
Yeah.
And I have to like almost adapt to be the person that other people want me to be.
Whoa.
Whereas like
Sorry. Not having a
whereas
moment.
like in Taiwan, I could just like be.
Hi everyone, before we get into today's episode, we wanted to take a moment to thank you for listening and watching. Whether you are an OG listener or someone who just recently discovered us, you are the reason we make the show and are able to keep it going.
If you want to get to know us even better and have a more premium experience, you can sign up to become an ABG Bestie, which is where you'll get our new audio episodes ad-free, early access and special discounts on merch, special shoutouts from us at the end of our show, and a chance to connect with us through our Dear ABG series, which is like our big sister advice column.
Check out the description notes of this episode for more details on how to sign up. But if you don't mind the ads and still want to tune in, all our episodes will continue to be available on all platforms. We appreciate you all and thank you so much for the support. Today, we're so thrilled to welcome back to the podcast and to the country our ex-social media coordinator, which I hate saying out loud because I love her so much, Ashley Chen.
Welcome to the pod, Ashley.
Welcome back to the pod.
Back,
For
yeah.
having me.
Yeah.
First time on video, though.
Oh,
Yes.
On a set.
And you can see your face.
You can see her
Yes. I'm scared right now. I'm sweating.
You got this.
Thank you.
So Ashley's been with ABG since 2020. You've been with 4 years?
Yeah, almost 4 years. Yeah.
That's like a whole like college experience.
Yeah, I graduated.
You graduated and then started with us, huh? Wow. Sorry, it's hitting me. When she started as our intern and quickly just blew us away. Like I still remember your intern project that you submitted and it was fantastic. She created a filter for us.
Like the Instagram.
Custom filter.
Yeah.
Which back then was like mind-blowing, you know? Now, I don't know if people still do that. You may also recognize her from episode 160, Changes and Transitions in Your Early 20s and 30s. You might also see her from our recent social media posts about her recap in Taiwan. She's also the one that's been DMing you, responding to your messages on our ABD social, but not anymore. But she's here.
A little bit more about Ashley. In her mid-20s, she quit her corporate job and moved her life to Taiwan, which is her motherland, in order to study Mandarin and get closer to her roots. Along the way, she also spent a couple of months as the social media manager and content creator for NIKI's Nicole World Tour, which is something we're still low-key fangirling about. Ashley is a multimedia designer specializing in digital marketing and package design. Ashley is also hilarious, warm, a bookworm, and deeply introspective.
Wow.
What an intro.
We've been looking forward to catching up with you for a while now, Ashley. So we are so excited to have you on the show.
Ashley literally got back from Taiwan like, what, a week ago?
Yeah, I got back, a week ago.
Are you still jet lagged?
A little bit, but I'm just like letting myself take naps. Like,
Oh,
if I
for
need
sure,
it, just
for
like
sure.
sleep. Yeah, I took a nap at noon yesterday after I woke up at 10.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I'm really excited to have Ashley on. I feel like we have such an attachment to our team members. I know I do. And like, I know once you like, you know, went to Taiwan, like we had meetings online and, you know, we went on tour with NIKI. But I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm just attached to Ashley. And I know you're moving on to your next opportunity, which I'll share later. And we're so excited and so proud of you. But for today, we want to kind of dive into like the past year. Because you had a really exciting year that I don't think a lot of people know. They might have saw your social, but let's just get started. I know people are probably waiting to hear about the job with NIKI because if you guys don't know, Ashley's like a huge hardcore NIKI fan and she went on tour with her. Well, we'll get to that in a bit. Obviously, I feel like I know the backstory because I've been on calls with you every week and I know why you left your job and why you went to Taiwan. But do you mind sharing with our listeners what made you make that decision for yourself?
Right. I think I got like a corporate job about 6 months after I graduated from college. I'm a 2020 pandemic grad. So that came with its like own set of challenges already. I think getting in like to find a job in like the tough job market that was 2020 and 2021, I didn't take it lightly that I was able to land a corporate job. So I did that for about like 2.5, almost 3 years. I also moved back home to my hometown in Orange County right after like the pandemic started, so March of 2020, and I've been living at home ever since. So I think just it was like the perfect storm of just kind of being like a sad storm, like dissatisfied with my life. Just like I'd worked for like 2 years, and I feel like a lot of people my age right now are thinking about how are we going to be doing our corporate work for the rest of our lives. Like being 25 now and then thinking about I can't retire until I'm like 65. So that's like another 40 years of like just working in an office job. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. But personally, I just wanted more for myself. I wanted to live a little bit more and kind of expand outside of California since I've lived here my whole life. Went to college in California. Yeah, so it was just a perfect storm of being dissatisfied and wanting to find something different. So that's ultimately why I decided to leave my job.
Hi everyone, it's Mel. I knew moving from LA to New York would be hard, but I didn't realize how much change would be happening all at once. It felt like I didn't have a firm grasp of my life and everything was in the air. It also was the first time I was experiencing a cross-country move with a partner and leaving a place I felt really comfortable. In many ways, I actually didn't know how to handle things when things got tough as I usually would. After some minor breakdowns, I booked an appointment with BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video. BetterHelp has been there for me during previous tough personal moments, and I knew I could count on them again. I'm currently seeing a new therapist since the move. I loved my previous one a lot, but I had to switch because I needed to find a therapist with a license to practice in New York. BetterHelp makes this change super easy too. I was able to find a new therapist within 48 hours, which is usually how long it takes to get matched with a therapist. I'm currently seeing my first Asian American therapist, and it's been going well so far. We do bi-weekly video phone calls, and she always checks in on me via chat in between our calls. She also gives me videos to watch that are really relevant to what I'm struggling through, which has been really helpful. If you're also going through a lot of change and need extra support, definitely check out BetterHelp. Check out the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/AsianBossGirl for a special discount. Thank you, BetterHelp, for also being a sponsor of today's video. How did Taiwan incept your brain though? Like why Taiwan? Why not New York, you know?
Right. Oh, that's a good question. I think there was really no discussion for me. There was no other option. It just felt like Taiwan or nothing. Specifically Taipei. I grew up going a couple times when I was younger, but I wasn't the every summer to Taiwan kind of gal. So I think I've gone in total maybe 3 or 4 times when I was younger. But yeah, I don't know. I had never considered New York. It was really just Taiwan or nothing. I woke up on my 24th birthday and I was like, I should do this. I should just go. I don't know why. That was planted. I didn't talk about it with anyone in particular. I just woke up and kind of felt like I needed to make some changes in my life. Kind of similar to how you wanted to move to New York and just that shift. And I talked to my parents about it and they were very, very supportive. And yeah, they were like, just go. Why not?
Did you decide on a finite period? I'm going to be there for X amount of months, or what was?
Well, I originally wanted to go for a full year just to really feel like I could call myself a local.
Yeah.
Because I only went for 6 months. I mean, it's only 6 months, but it's also wow, half a year. That just feel like quite a bit of time. But yeah, I originally wanted to go for a year, but the window of time just kept getting smaller and smaller. I originally wanted to go June to June because I wanted to go around my birthday just to feel that hurrah of turning 25 in my motherland. Yeah, the window of time just shrunk. But I'm happy with the 6 months that it was.
I feel like eternity for me. Just kidding. But in a good way.
Okay, so one of the reasons you wanted to go to Taiwan was to get closer to your heritage, right? And the language particularly. And you've talked about how learning the language was a challenge and the experience of what it's like to be a beginner again, to feel like you don't know anything. Can you talk about that? What was that like?
Yeah, I remember being in calls with Mel after I started my language class. I did a 2 to 3 month language class in Taipei, and I was struggling. It was
Mandarin is
so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I grew up being able to speak, so I can understand quite well, but I don't know how to read and write. So that was my main motive. And that is what is extremely challenging in my opinion, just getting to recognize characters.
Yeah.
So I think I just felt like I was learning how to walk again. So we had to get tested, reading, writing, and speaking or something for to get slotted into a specific class. And I got placed at a higher level because I can understand and I can speak.
Oh my God.
But then I can't read and write. Yeah. So then it was just so chaotic because I get my textbook and it was literally this thick and there was no pinging or no zuing. It was just characters basically. And I couldn't read any of them. And I just had to, when I was doing homework, I just handwrite every single one of them into Google Translate and then write the pinging, which is the romanization version of it, into my textbook. And I think the first homework assignment that I had took me 7 hours because I was translating everything by hand.
Yeah.
So that was just the struggle of feeling starting over and just being a beginner again, even though it's a language that I'm supposed to know because I grew up speaking it at home. But yeah, just feeling so behind.
Yeah. I remember talking to Ash because we're I think I was saying like, because I feel like all of us, we like had to study in high school and college, but then going to like working in corporate, like you kind of lose that studying habit. So going like being thrown into an intense environment, you're like, how do I do this again?
Right.
Being a student again is hard, and then like picking up a language that like you expect. Did you expect yourself to be able to like go faster? Like was part of the struggle like your own self judgment?
I thought I'd be placed in like the first level, the lowest level, because I couldn't read and write.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, they're not gonna put me higher because I can't read anything.
Yeah.
So getting slotted in like an advanced intermediate level, I was like,
what the heck?
Yeah.
what? I can't read a single thing. Yeah, so that was really challenging, just feeling like a failure, honestly.
Aww.
Like I was just really, really hard on myself.
Yeah. How long was the course?
It was about 3 months.
3 months.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
Did at any point did it start to feel easier at all, or how was the whole 3 month experience? Was it
Not
just like
really.
hard the whole time?
Yeah, I feel like it was really hard the whole time. And like my classmates, like they learned Mandarin in their like universities. I think one girl had like a master's.
Okay,
in
that's not fair.
Chinese.
Yeah, that's not fair at all.
So like those are the kind of people that
Those
I
are
was
your
like,
classmates?
competing with. Yeah. Yeah.
what the heck?
And I was the only person in my class that was like ethnically Chinese, Taiwanese. So I think that also added another layer of like being really, really hard on myself because it's like I should know this. Out of everyone in my class, I should know this, but I don't. And the best that I can do is just be hard on myself because no one else was. Like my parents, I did not even care. They're just like, cool, good for you. But yeah, and my teacher was really understanding of like my very ABC like experience and background. Yeah.
Why did you decide to take Mandarin? Because I feel like a lot of options is like, oh, I should go to Taiwan just to play for 6 months. Like, why decide to take a language course?
Well, I originally wasn't going to take one because I wanted to play.
Yeah.
But then I thought I'd be bored.
Oh.
So you wanted to add some like structure.
Yeah.
or
So
thing
I
to
thought
focus
this would
on.
just be like a casual, low key, like 10-week class.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't travel because I was like studying every weekend.
Yeah.
Like weekends were to catch up on schoolwork, which I feel like all this like students relate to that. Yeah. So I felt like I wanted to learn the language just as like an add-on to my experience, just to add a little bit of flavor to like my time in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Not expecting it to like take over those 10 weeks completely.
Yeah.
I think it's something for people who are like traveling to a different country to consider, because they're like, you may not anticipate like the workload or the hours spent for these like classes. So anyone that's like going to Taiwan or even like going to Europe or something, like trying to learn a different language is something to consider. Because I actually would want to go back to learn Mandarin too, but like I don't want to take up my whole time.
Yeah, I think there are some classes that are less intensive. I just didn't really do a lot of research. So I just I literally Googled like Mandarin in Taiwan and then did the first one. And it was like one of the most challenging, like known for being one of the most challenging
Oh,
in the city, but I just didn't know. So that's on me.
That's okay. It's like a challenge.
Yeah.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. I wouldn't consider my skin sensitive in the traditional sense, but as I get older, I'm getting pickier and pickier about the products that I put on my skin. Lately, I've been using OneSkin's face topical supplement, once in the morning and once in the evening. At night, I also add on their eye topical supplement, and that's it. It's literally only 1 to 2 steps. I mean, sometimes I like to treat myself with long, extensive face care routines, but let's be real, on the day-to-day, I don't have the patience or time, and I like to keep it simple, and OneSkin is perfect for that. Founded by an all-women team of scientists, OneSkin is backed by extensive lab and clinical data to validate their efficacy and safety on all skin types. They are the first and only skin longevity company to target cellular senescence, a key hallmark of aging. If you're interested, you can try OneSkin for 15% off using the code ABG when you check out at oneskin.co. I really personally resonate with their belief that the purpose of skincare is not just to improve how we look, but to optimize our skin biology so that it is more resilient to the aging process. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code ABG at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code ABG. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you.
I want to talk to you about your experience in Taiwan. I feel like I was living vicariously through you, because I shared with you during our call is that, and I think on the podcast, like I have always wanted to move to Taiwan too. So when you said you're moving, I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm so excited for you. And I was just like following along with your stories and like your posts, and obviously asking you during our meetings, but also doing meeting stuff too. But I want to hear your take on like, what was it like being like a Taiwanese American person living in Taiwan? And like obviously I think when we're in Asia, we kind of blend in because obviously we're Asian too, but being Asian American is a very different experience being there. So for you, like what's the difference between like being in Taipei versus like Southern California, or like any nuanced experience you like discovered?
I think being Taiwanese American in Taiwan was definitely like a unique experience because like you're saying, I look like everyone. So when I go to restaurants or like sales people try to help me, they always speak to me in Mandarin. And luckily like my Mandarin like is good enough where I can get by with that. But sometimes like they talk like Taiwanese people talk really, really fast and they like to like blurb everything together. So like the slang that they use is just all the words are just strung together and they talk really, really fast. So sometimes I can't understand. And then I look at them like just like with fear in my eyes and I'm like, I'm like, can you repeat that? And then they'll slow down or something. Or sometimes I go to restaurants and they'll give me an English menu instead when they realize that I'm actually from America. So in those moments, I think I feel like kind of disappointed with myself because I'm like, oh, I should be able to do this. Like I want to prove to them that like I can also do this and I'm not just like some Magoran, like some American. So I think that was something that took some getting used to. But then after a while, it kind of I adapted enough where like I stopped getting English menus as often.
Wow.
I still needed to Google Translate, like the photo option, like
I think
the Google Lens.
One time she like posted it, or you said it. I don't know if you posted, but you're like you had to like Google, like you took a photo of the menu, and it was like the translation was hilarious.
Yeah, there's just some that like the words just don't translate properly, and when you translate the menu, like just the characters are all over the place, and I can't read anything, so it's really chaotic. But yeah, I think that was like probably one of the bigger changes that I had to adapt to. Is like kind of, I think a lot of Asian Americans also feel the same way of like not belonging in America, but also not fully belonging in Taiwan.
It's probably felt extra isolating too.
Yeah. And I think also having a more unique situation of not having a lot of family, extended family in Taiwan as well. A lot of my friends that are Taiwanese like do have relatives, like elderly relatives, but my relatives have either all moved to the US or have passed or we don't keep in contact with anymore. So I kind of moved with like no one, like no family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you're back in like California, do you feel like two things? Do you feel like a cultural shock being back here because you've been in Taiwan for 6 months? And two, do you have a preference? Like, oh, I miss Taiwan. I'd rather be there than here.
I think the biggest culture shock like is the cost of living here. Everything is just a lot more expensive. The dollar goes quite far in Taiwan, so things just feel a lot more affordable there. So I think coming back, I haven't gone to a cafe yet because I'm scared. I've gotten boba a couple times, but it's like my sister will pay for me.
Oh wow, okay.
Because I'm like I can't pay $7 when it's only $2 in Taiwan. So that's like a big adjustment to like being back. And I'm like definitely that person that like won't shut up about the currency exchange. Like, oh, but in Taiwan, it's so much cheaper. Like, oh, if we were in Taiwan right now, it'd cost this much. Like, everyone hates me already for that. And it's only been a week. So I feel like that was like an adjustment. And I think it's hard to say if I have a preference, but I will say like I am very open to like living in Taiwan. Like longer term for like no end date in sight kind of thing.
Just don't sign up for a language course.
Yeah. I just need to find like a job. And then I think like I'm okay with like living there. Specifically Taipei though, because I think Taipei is the most like expat friendly. Yeah, a lot more English speakers and a lot more leeway. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it feels like a lot of my friends are now getting on that baby train. If you have a friend who is also expecting or have little ones still in diapers, I always recommend Pampers Swaddlers. With Pampers Swaddlers, you can also rest assured that this diaper will prevent up to 100% of leaks, even blowouts. Swaddlers has dual leak guard barriers at the legs to help protect where leaks happen most. And they have a blowout barrier, which is an innovative back pocket built into the diaper to help prevent those messy leaks up the back. Did you know that on average, babies will use up to 8,000 plus diapers before becoming potty trained? That is a lot. That's why Pampers Diaper Stash is the hottest baby gift for 2024. So give a gift to a loved one that says, "We see you and we've got you." Pampers Diaper Stash is an online diaper fund that all parents with little ones will love. You can organize friends and family to contribute to a group gift of an online stockpile that never has to run out. Pampers Diaper Stash is great because it takes the guesswork out of choosing what size and how many diapers to gift. It's so easy to do, and it's the gift that always fits.
Do you feel like you were able to meet other expats or like form some sense of like connection or community there?
I think I definitely could have tried harder, to be honest. So I didn't really meet that many expats. I did meet like people through my language class, but after that was wrapped up, a lot of them just went back to their like home countries because they were only there just to study.
Oh, interesting.
Like a lot of them were in university still.
I see.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I didn't really meet that many people.
So you obviously went to Taiwan with some expectations. Do you feel like you got to do everything you wanted to do?
I would say no. I think the way that I've kind of been explaining it to friends is like if you move to New York and you live there for your whole life, there will be so many things that you will never be able to do. Like there's just too much to do in the city. And that's just New York City alone.
Yeah.
Like with Taiwan, I lived in Taipei specifically, and there's just so much to do, so much to eat, so much to explore there in that city alone, that there was just a lot that I wasn't able to get to, not even counting like the rest of the island. So it's okay because that just means like I'll have a reason to go back.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what about like setting a routine there or things like that? What other things were you like kind of hoping?
Yeah, I think I got more like inner harmony kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's great.
Less like of the things I wanted to do, like places to visit, but more just getting to understand myself better, getting to live on my own. I had a housemate, so it wasn't like totally by myself, but getting to experience like more like an adulting experience since I lived at home for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
6 months is a long time to live by yourself in another country. And even though, to be feeling kind of isolated where you're like, I look like everyone, but it's hard for me to like fully
Right.
connect and
Yeah,
communicate with
yeah.
people. So that's a huge feat. Yeah.
Yeah, I had like a couple small, okay, not small. I'm not gonna limit myself. I had a couple goals, and like amongst them were like to do well in my language class, which I did, and then not spend Christmas and New Year's by myself. I like made friends, so I was able to spend those holidays with friends, which meant a lot to me. And then I just wanted to experience like living like a local.
Yeah.
Like having spots that I frequent and like getting to know the menu enough where I don't need to ask for a menu and they don't need to give me the English menu.
Wow.
And like knowing my order at certain spots.
Yeah.
So I think those are like my main big three, and I was able to accomplish those. So
Oh, that's great.
I left feeling very fulfilled still.
Yeah.
So weird. Sorry, I just had this out of body experience. I'm just staring at you talking about your experience and being like, oh wow, like Ashley's grown. I have this
Yeah.
because obviously we haven't talked to Ashley since she like came back, and I haven't seen you in like 6 months.
Like
Because
longer.
because we meet virtually, but
Yeah.
I think again, like Ashley's been with us for 4 years, but when she started with us, she was just like a recent college grad. But hearing you talk about like,
baby.
I know, and you're like talking about like living alone. I remember you also saying like you wanted to like go to a night market by yourself or like a movie by yourself, and to see you experience these things and see you now, it's just like whoa, like I feel like you're changed.
Really? I feel like the same.
Matured.
Yeah, but you're I think anyone that's going through it, they're always gonna feel kind of the same.
Yeah.
But I think it's always the outside people that are looking in that.
You can see the changes that I
Yeah.
might not be able
Yeah.
to see because I'm like living through the day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, sorry, I just had to call it out right now. I'm just like, whoa.
Had a moment.
Yeah, I did. All right, so I'm gonna reference one of your YouTube videos. So Ashley also has a YouTube channel, so check her out there. You said moving back home feels scarier for me than moving to Taiwan. Do you feel the same now that you're back?
I think I do. I don't know. Like when I was moving to Taiwan, a lot of people were asking me if there's anything I was worried about, and honestly, I wasn't really scared.
Was it because you're more excited?
Maybe like
Yeah.
the language. People are like, "What about the language barrier and
Yeah.
all that?" Like getting around. It's like Taiwan uses public transit, so
Yeah.
that's really easy. And then language, I wasn't too worried about. But for some reason, like moving back to California has been more like anxiety inducing than the my move to Taiwan. I think it has to do maybe with like socially, like there's like more expectations and more people here that I need to see and like
Oh, I see.
like
That
not
makes
let
total sense,
down.
yeah.
Whereas with Taiwan, it's like I was going with a clean slate. No one to hang out with, just silence.
Like you're in a little bubble, right?
Yeah. But then coming back, it's like, oh, I have to look for like work, and I have to like be with my family, and I have to make sure I see my friends, and I have like weddings to go to, and just like a lot
More
on my
responsibilities,
calendar
huh?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas before, I was able to have like the luxury and the freedom of and the privilege of just like doing whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was able to be selfish with my time. But now that I'm back here, it's like I feel like I'm getting pulled in all directions.
Yeah.
And I have to like almost adapt to be the person that other people want me to be.
Whoa.
Whereas like
Mom's having a moment.
in Taiwan, I could just like be. Like,
Yeah.
And there's no one to judge me for that.
I could kind of relate to what she's saying. I think obviously this is actually my first time back in LA, and there's always the key people I'm gonna hit up, but then there's always like I didn't tell a lot of people I'm back because it's like time management and like I think it's also the feeling of like obviously when you leave a place for long periods of time, the energy and the dynamic has changed already. So coming back, you're just anticipating what is this change going to feel like now that I'm here again. Like technically it's not, can it be just like how it was before? That's something I don't know. I'm still my day one.
Yeah.
Or will it be different? I think you just the anticipate of this change causes anxiety, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, am I still the person that like other people want me to be, or am I different? And if I'm different, like, is that bad?
Yeah. So you don't have an answer yet, huh?
No.
Still feeling it out.
Yeah. It's been a busy week.
Oh yeah, it's been 1 week.
Yeah.
Dang.
So your time there was great, but also you explained to us some of these aspects that made you feel kind of like isolated at times. But you also shared how that experience kind of reframed your definition of like what it is to be alone, the difference between solitude versus loneliness. Can you share some of that?
Yeah, I think I was really, really grateful to have this opportunity to really be by myself and like be forced to be on my own. That also kind of was an aftermath of like going on tour as well. Like going on tour is like you're around a bunch of people for, I think ours was like 6 weeks long, but there are so many moments when like I can choose to be by myself and like I have my own hotel room and I like explore cities on my own. So I think that experience of like being alone on tour helped like give me a little bit of a boost when I went to Taipei by myself. I think like one thing that one of my big takeaways from my time in Taiwan is that like I really enjoy being by myself and I enjoy who I am as a person. And sometimes it feels silly to say that because it almost feels like we live in a culture where you're not supposed to like yourself. So I think being at a place where I fully really do enjoy my own company has been like really just like a big breath of relief for me. Because at the end of the day, we're spending time like with ourselves for like the rest of our lives. I'm the constant in my own life and I will always be with myself and I'll always have my own back. And it sounds kind of woo-woo, but
I love the woo.
I think like getting to come to this realization and like having this peace within myself with that has been really like monumental for my own journey, I guess, of like self-discovery abroad in the motherland. Yeah, so I think like being alone is something that I cherish and is like a really just like a very grounding experience for me, and I don't feel lonely anymore because I can just choose to like be in my own company.
Whoa.
Like I'm not actually by myself.
Yeah.
Because I have me.
Wow.
Does that sound
yeah.
so woo woo?
No, but it is really profound. I think it's like learning to that is the difference of like you are alone in your solitude and you're not with other people, but you don't feel lonely and you don't feel the absence of anything or the lacking of anything.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
Actually, I realized during our meetings in Taiwan, I never got the sense. You never said I'm lonely. I think because I'm like, oh, you actually, I think
She
because
seems very like happy.
you feel
and-
pretty content with yourself. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, hearing you say it, it makes a lot of sense right now.
Yeah. And I think that kind of like groundedness and like solitude is different than like being, oh, I'm introverted. I feel like it's like a very conscious decision. Like I feel like when I am very introverted, but I think before I would kind of hide behind that label and say that I'm introverted so I can't do the XYZ by myself, or like I choose to be by myself because I'm introverted. But I don't know, like getting to really be on my own and like challenge myself to be okay with really just going out to eat on my own, like table for one, going to the movies by myself, going to workout class on my own, like going to a cafe by myself, like those experiences. I even went to like a concert on my own, which I was really excited about.
Oh, that's
like I
really
really
cool.
wanted to go to a concert by myself, and I was really grateful to have that experience in Taiwan. So yeah, I think just like the culmination of all these experiences is just learning that like I like myself, and like
Yeah.
that's like a good thing.
I think that's great. It's because you're choosing that versus sometimes if you're like, oh, I can't do that because I'm introverted, you almost feel like you're using introversion as like a crutch. But now it's like, no, I actually prefer. Like I would rather go by myself than like with other people to this
that's like a
experience.
huge takeaway too that I've had is like I'd rather use my energy on myself than to be around people that drain my energy or like add very little
Negative.
value
Yeah.
to my life, like respectfully. That sounds so mean, but yeah, like I just want to be more intentional in like how I choose to spend my time.
Yeah.
And sometimes like when I'm meeting people, like you're really just battling against myself. Like, would I rather spend time with you or me? Because there's some people I would win over.
Yeah.
So
It's a
I
great
just
question
choose to be
for
with myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a great question for people to ask themselves, right? It's like, would I rather be spending this time with these people, or would I rather be in my own company?
So we're going to hit the topic I feel like a lot of people are probably anticipating for. Hope I
Who
said it
cares
right.
about Taiwan?
I care about Taiwan, but I want to say a few things about this too. I will say when Ashley shared this news with our team, I was like beyond like so proud, so excited for you because I've seen how much work you put in, and again, beyond proud of Ashley. So let's talk about how you ended up going on tour with NIKI, one of your favorite artists of all time. I mean, obviously I know how, but can you share with the listeners, how did this opportunity come about?
Yeah, I think it was in 2021 in this very room where I met NIKI for the first time because she was a guest on the podcast. Yeah, I still remember that day. You guys said I could come in, and I was so excited. Literally couldn't breathe. I was so excited. I called in sick to work that day.
That wasn't even a question for
No hesitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I called in sick, and then I drove my little butt over from OC to the studio, and then getting to meet her was so surreal, and that's like my first, I guess, touch point with NIKI.
Yeah.
And I fangirled, of course.
No, actually, just as an observer, you were not like, oh my God, you're just like, hey, I love your music. So I was watching Ashley.
She was like inside. She was like,
Crumbling.
Yeah. I did have my eyes on Ashley because I knew how excited she was, and like I was so excited to even tell you like, hey, guess who we're bringing on the podcast? I think you need to like come on set.
Dude, I think I felt literally sick that day because I was so excited.
I wish I recorded that meeting, but
I was so like,
yeah. But she carried herself so professionally, so well, and you were having a conversation with her like very naturally. And also Nikki's just super nice.
she's so easygoing and like so down to earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
that definitely helped.
Got it. So after the recording, like how did you even connect or on a further basis?
I thought she forgot about me. We like talked about this the other day. Like I asked her, I was like, so why me? Like I'm not that interesting of a person. I'm just another, I don't know, like isn't it weird that I'm like a fan of yours? And then she was just saying that like she liked my energy and that she felt like we'd get along well. So yeah, we first met I think in October 2021 or something like that. And then she invited me to the premiere of her short film in like August the following year, I think 2022. And then after that, we kind of got to keep in touch because she went on her like North American leg of the Nicole tour. And then I think in July of last year, she messaged me and she's like, hey, like we should catch up. And in my head, I'm like, what are we catching up on? We never hung out. What is there to catch up? You don't know anything about me. I know only the parasocial side. Yeah. I was like, this is weird. And I was like, I remember when she asked me to hang out, I was like freaking out because I was like, what are we going to talk about? Like what? I'm just like click, click, click at my corporate job. Like I'm not that interesting of a person. But honestly, we had so much to chat about. Just like she's just so easy to talk to. And I think like we just laugh at a lot of the same things. So that connection just was very natural, luckily. So it was July and she's like, oh, so like, what are you up to? And I was like, oh, I'm like quitting my job. Like I'm moving to Taiwan. It's like a whole thing. I'm going to go for X amount of months. And she's like, that's crazy. I'm going to go on tour soon. And I was like, I know, I want to go. And then she had like a stop in Macau previously, like scheduled, which is like kind of close to Taiwan. It's like the closest you can get to Taiwan with like all her other tour dates. And she's like, oh, like come through, like just come like
You're
to
like,
Macau.
yeah, okay.
And I was like, say less. I will be there. Of course. I will swim over from Taiwan. Whatever it takes. And then we're like, oh, haha, yeah. And then after that, I'll go to like the Philippines with you. And then we'll go to Indonesia. And then we'll go to Thailand. And we were just like, ha, 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 he, he. Like, I'll just go to all of the tour dates with you because I'm not doing anything. Because then my language classes was like November. And this was like September. So it was just vibes, really. And then it was like really quiet. And we're like,
uh-oh, you're like left on red?
and I was like, unless. And she was like, maybe you can. And then we were just like, we could feel like the
Yeah.
mechanicals moving in our head.
This is in person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were-
Oh, is in
yeah,
person.
yeah. We
Oh,
were
I was
like
thinking
meeting
it
in
was, like,
person.
over DM. Oh.
Yeah. So then, because she was like, oh yeah, at the end, like you'll basically be like on our cast member list because you come to all the shows. I was like, yeah, that's crazy. Unless, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, we kind of left it at that, and we were like, ha 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 ha, maybe next year. And we're just like, so fun hanging out with you. I'll see you next time. Good luck on tour. And then I drive an hour home, and then she like texts me. She's like, hey, like I talked to my management team. Like, can you give me a call like when you get home? And I was like, oh my god. So I called her, and then she's like, we're down if you're down.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some details I need to add to this.
Yeah. That was it. I'm like shaking right now thinking about it.
Okay. I remember other details because Ashley told me in our call and we were both freaking out. So I don't know if you remember this, but so during your hee hee ha 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 cafe date, I got the replay from Ashley. But I will say you're really good at putting yourself out there, and you're saying like, hey, like if you ever need help with social media
yeah,
or design,
I did say that. Yeah,
you
yeah.
said that
Made the
because
offer.
yeah, make the offer, y'all. And you said that, and she was like, oh, and then you guys had the mechanical brain
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
movement.
yeah.
And then she called you.
Yeah.
I think like that statement for me, when I heard that, I was like, wow, Ashley's like putting herself out there. She's being vulnerable. She's like also being confident. And like,
Yeah.
hey, I really, I don't know if you said I'm really good at social media, but like,
No, but I was like, I will literally sell merch.
like
I will clean up
I'll do anything.
I'll clean up
yeah.
the confetti at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll do anything.
But then she also offered her hard skills.
Yes. The hard skills came first,
yeah,
and then I was
Yeah. Because she's very, I mean, Ashley's very talented.
Thank you.
And so after you got the call, you were like, hell yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like shaking, quaking in my boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, so crazy.
Well, obviously, it's like that is such a dream experience. So few people have like an artist that they are fanatical about, that they love.
Yeah.
And then you get to go on tour with them, and then you get to work with them.
Yeah.
What were some highlights from that time?
The whole thing.
The whole thing was a highlight.
It was just like very surreal, and I think like every day I wake up and just feel like so grateful. Like just so surreal that like this was my life.
Yeah.
Like for those 6 weeks. Yeah, and I think one thing that I'm really grateful for like after tour, or like that happened during tour, is that we were able to develop an actual friendship too. Like Nikki and I, it wasn't just like, oh, she's my boss.
Right.
Like, and I don't talk to her otherwise. So I think getting to like really be vulnerable with her about my life and like her with me, it was just really great just to have like this space to develop a friendship, and walking away from that experience with like a new friend, and like getting to meet so many other people on the team as well. Like they have such great talent. So getting to have like so many new connections and so many new friendships as well was just really, really meaningful for me. Like aside from the professional
Yeah.
resume part of it, it was just getting to harbor these relationships was really great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wait, for our listeners out there, because I'm pretty sure they're curious. They're like, they hear that you're going on tour. Do you mind walking actually through like the professional stuff you did? Like, what do you do? Like, what did you do on tour?
What did I do? It feels so long ago now.
I actually remember. I remember
Mel
what you
knows.
did.
She remembers.
I remember.
Take it away, Mel.
I think there's sometimes like that's the thing with Ashley. It's like when she was on tour, you actually took a hiatus from ABG,
Right?
But she was still on Slack, so I'll message her like, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" And you're like, "I'm in the dressing room with NIKI, like getting ready for a show." Ashley created all the content there, so she was capturing like audience reactions, behind the scenes stuff, just kind of like give you like a inside look of what happens on tour with an artist.
I think like the a strategy. I guess the strategy behind that was just like I was kind of coming at it with like from my outside perspective of like what really goes on in tour.
Yeah.
Like how does that, like what do they do? They just sing and then they go to the next spot and like and then what? Yeah. But like NIKI was the one that had the initiative to like make the second like tour Instagram, which was really helpful to kind of like differentiate like her brand. Yeah, so that was just a lot of like attached at the hip, okay? Like it was just a girl and her iPhone and a dream. Like that's all I did on tour really was I was just always recording like audience reactions and then like behind the scenes stuff.
But again, I feel like that's the one thing I want to make sure I emphasize is that Ashley, this is work that you did and thinking that you put in to like create this plan, and I think it did really well. Like I really enjoyed following the second cast. I knew you were posting for it and thinking through the content, so I loved it.
Thanks for the support.
Of course. Because I feel like we could talk social.
Yeah.
That was nice.
That's like definitely a good chunk of our meetings too. Like we like to just talk social.
Yeah. Well, it's also our job.
Yeah.
That part too. Well, thank you so much for sharing about your tour with NIKI. I know I feel like we were kind of like hearing about it through Slack, and obviously I would just ask you all the time, how's it going? Because I'm so happy and so proud of you. But like we mentioned at the top of this episode, that Ashley actually is our ex-social media coordinator because she's moving on from ABG, which as much as I am really sad, I haven't let it like really hit me because I get really emotional when people from our team leave. Your next opportunity is quite amazing. And do you want to share with the listeners what's in store for you next?
Yeah, I'm kind of moving away from social and like the creative end of things. So I recently accepted a job offer with 88 Rising, and I'll be doing like artist management there, which is like just so different than anything that I've done before. So I'm just really grateful that their team is willing to take a chance on me and just this cool opportunity to just expand my skill sets. And I also do want to say that like my time with ABG, yeah, it was like 4 years or so, but I truly wouldn't be where I am like without these past 4 years. Like getting to like all of my experience in social has been through this role, and getting to work with Mel and getting to like understand how you think the way that you think and like why we do the things that we did with the ABG brand, and getting to meet NIKI was also through ABG, and just yeah, like the domino effect of everything. It's just really surreal to be sitting here with you guys after like I started listening to ABG when I was a second year in college.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
yeah.
putting that into perspective.
Yeah,
Woo.
it was like I started listening the second episode.
Wow. So you're
Second
really,
year.
really
Yeah.
original
Yeah.
listener.
So like getting to be here and like getting to work with you guys and getting to just like all these opportunities I have not taken lightly, and I'm just very, very grateful.
I can't talk anymore.
I know.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, no, but I mean, thank you for sharing your story, Ashley. It's actually, I'm like very, very excited to see what's next for you.
Thank you.
Because yeah, you've done amazing with like design and social media with us. And this is going to be another opportunity to try some different things and figure out maybe professionally. We'll see like where things end up and how it goes. We're going to be
What
following
will she
along.
do?
Following
Yeah.
along.
Yeah. Where can we find you on social if we want to follow along?
You can find me at Ashley L. Chen on like Instagram, I think YouTube, and that's also like my website as well.
Ooh, website.
She's a designer. Thank you for having me.
Aw,
Of course.
Thank you so much for being here, Ashley. It was really, really nice to be able to review all of your past adventures. We got to see from graduation, all the work experience that you had, to your time at ABG, to taking a chance out in Taiwan, touring with NIKI, and now on to your next adventure. What a journey it's been, and it's going to continue to be. And with that, we will catch you all on the next episode.
Bye.